Right, welcome back. We are now on to midfielders. Cheap midfielders, again, quite a lot of movement here. The first one to just quickly mention, Semenyo's now served his suspension and he's gone straight back to the top of our list. As a result, Bournemouth have incredible fixtures. They're playing great football. Semenyo's the talisman. As Brad's mentioned before as well, he's taken second most shots in the league after Haaland. So that sort of stuff just can't be ignored. One key talking point then is Kudus. Kudus has re-entered our rankings.
Yeah, again,
Yeah, where do you stand on Kudus?
served his suspension now, and conveniently, it's timed perfectly with West Ham's good fixtures. So yeah, I mean, going forward, we've not been bad all season. I say we. I'm a West Ham fan. Yeah, going forward, we've not been bad this season. So I kind of like going for the likes of Bowen and Kudos. And yeah, the reason, yeah, fixtures and now he's not suspended puts him pretty high up our lists.
Yeah. And then Eze as well. So Eze is back in the fold for Crystal Palace as well. I think the only reason he's this high for me, we've seen what Eze can do in the past. We've also seen the value that talismanic players tend to have in fantasy. Crystal Palace aren't playing, I think, as bad as people think they are. They're sort of holding their own a bit. I would like to see a bit more attacking football out of them. But Eze, potentially on pens, very attacking, talismanic role, definitely has potential to be a serious FPL player. And then I think another topic that is really worth talking about here is Justin Kluivert.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
fair play,
I mean,
fair play.
what a man!
Yeah, you all kind of plaudits to you on that one. You had him in early, and although did we know he was on penalties? I feel like we didn't know that.
I'll be honest, I had no idea he's on penalties, and it's hard to say whether he'll remain on penalties moving forward. I think Semenyo
He's,
will definitely be potentially on pen duties, given how greedy
maybe
he is.
I don't know. I thought that
Or
Evan Nilsson would be on penalties, to be honest. And
exactly, yeah,
and he was on the pitch, so
yeah. I mean, it's quite. I mean, it's almost going to. I think moving forward, actually, it's almost going to be hard to tell Clive that he's not on penalties after
mm,
being able to bury three in a row in the same game. So I think
absolutely,
moving forward, we definitely see a lot more of Clive on pens at the moment.
yeah.
It remains to be seen whether they'll share some out with Semenyo and Evan Nilsson. But for now, I think we can probably actually assume that Clive is on pens.
I think so. Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. I mean, penalty taking penalties is a huge part of what I look for in an FPL player. So that's the reason he's gone straight up into fifth in my list,
yeah,
because he's an absolute
yeah,
bargain as well. He's so cheap with Bournemouth's good
yeah.
fixtures. He's brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. As you say, Semenyo is already a great cheap way into that attack. So Clive, the fact there's an even cheaper way into that great attack in those fixtures is, now is definitely the time to earn Bournemouth assets for sure. And then I think the final cheap midpoint I want to talk about, Madueke. I think it's just the minutes risk is why he's dropped down for me.
Yeah,
If he was nailed and part of that Chelsea attack and being direct, he would have remained high for me. But I think Chelsea are now starting to show their need for rotations, at least in the upcoming fixtures. I just think he's a bit too volatile.
yeah. We've seen
In
him
that sense to remain high for me.
bench today, in fact. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
definitely. I think when he plays, he's fantastic. Though he's like
yeah,
Semenyo. He just, if he gets the ball close to goal, he's shooting. He's not passing the ball. So
yeah,
we
yeah,
when he does play, he's great, which is why he's still in my list. But yeah, the
yeah,
minutes risk is there now.
yeah. Exactly the same as me. And then premium mids, not a huge amount of difference. Not even a huge amount of difference from last week. I think I briefly. I mean, I've got Saka over Palmer. I just think the way Arsenal are playing at the moment, their attack looks electric with Odegaard in it, and Odegaard tends to play more of a creative role. And Saka, just every time he gets on the ball, I mean, the kid's brilliant. There's not too much else around it. I think we're seeing a lot of Chelsea's goals, go through Jackson at the moment, but we're also seeing Saka still hold his talismanic role for Arsenal, and Arsenal's attack looks electric. So
Yeah,
that's why I've edged him slightly above Palmer.
it really does. And for me, there's really not much between Palmer and Saka at all.
Yeah,
They're both fantastic. They're both very close. For me, it's just that Palmer's fixtures are slightly better than Saka's. They've both got good
yeah,
fixtures, of course, but the only reason he's above for me is just because the fixtures are slightly better. Yeah,
Yeah. At minimum, if you have one and not the other, I would not trade one out for the other. You know, they're both definite holds. So you either go for both or you hold the one you have. You don't swap them if you have either of them. And then yeah, Odegaard. I mean, Odegaard is as I just mentioned, Arsenal look electric. Odegaard shot right back to the top of these rankings. And I think that's in no small part down to just how creative he is. Whenever he gets, I think even despite his injury this season, he has still created the most big chances in the league by about 5 or 6 on second place, which is a hell of a stat and just a testament to how often when he gets the ball, stuff just seems to happen for Arsenal. So I think Odegaard, you can feel pretty confident about bringing into your teams now, and potentially even swapping him for an Embuemo or a Fernandez who are on the way down.
yeah. I
If
think
you were gonna, if you were a bit worried about going double Arsenal defence.
yeah, he's definitely a good way out of those players. Given that we've seen Mbomo and Fernandez fixtures aren't the best going forward. So yeah,
Yeah,
I don't mind that. And to be honest, we've seen it in the past as well, where Saka just randomly decides to hand Odegaard a penalty as well. So I think
yeah,
there's a tiny pen share in there that is worth mentioning.
yeah, 100%. So yeah, that concludes our midfielders this week. Let us know what you think of our list. Let us know if there's anyone you think we missed, and we will see you again next week.